of our next guest, who's been acting for 60 years, from the cute kid in Circus Boy to being as famous for his music because of one show that changed everything. That show is the Monkees, the voice we know so well from those records. Is here, Micky Dolenz. Great to see you.
And you, thank you so much.
Now, you are very familiar with London and the UK because you were here for a chunk of your life.
15 years.
Yeah. What made you decide to come here?
I came over to do a play, actually, at the Mermaid Theatre, and I'd happened to marry an English girl, and when I was over here, I had brought my reels as a director from the States. I'd started directing TV and commercials and stuff, an episode of the Monkees, and I gave it to an agent, and the agent got me a gig at the BBC at Shepherd's Bush, directing a drama play, and I didn't have to go back to the States, and so I decided to stay for a while and see how it worked out. And it was one of those cases of coming for 3 months and staying 15 years, and I hadn't packed for it, so I had to start buying clothes. We had 3 children over here, my wife and I. Wonderful experience, and all I did really was direct and produce television shows.
And was that a wonderful contrast to the kind of intensity of life in the Monkees as a TV show and as the band? Was that just what you needed at that point?
Respite. I mean, by that time, I'd already been in the showbiz as an entertainer from 55 to 20 years.
Yeah.
So I had decided consciously to make the transition to directing and producing, more behind the scenes. I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And it just, I was blessed. It just fell in my lap, and I loved it. That's all I did for like 15 years, and it was nice because when I eventually went back and started touring again, I approached it with a very different attitude, and I was quite happy to go back and do that, and it was great fun.
It felt fresh again, I'm sure.
It was fresh, and also I've always approached the show, the Monkees, as that was a character I was playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The wacky drummer, and singing and playing, and it was all part of the job. So I've always approached it like that, and I think that helps to be able to separate the person and the persona.
Yeah, fact from fiction, yeah. And the crazy thing is, what was there, 58 episodes, 2 series, long series because it's American TV, but it's incredible the special place the show and the music and you as individuals, either the character or the real-life people, the place you have in the hearts of the public. It's 50 years on.
I know.
And the public still, when you do shows, they love it like it was yesterday.
I know. It's I feel blessed. You can't plan that. You can't guarantee it, of course. You just do your best work, and you try, and you surround yourself with, hopefully talented, hardworking people. And then, like one of the producers once said when he was asked what happened, why was it so successful, he said, "We just caught lightning in a bottle." And I kind of think of it as the perfect storm. There were so many other people involved in the Monkees besides the 4 of us. Writers, directors, producers. At a certain point, the whole just becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And 50 years later, I just feel so blessed. And I was thinking the other day, it's like the equivalent of this happening. The new album is #1, just went #1 vinyl in the States.
Congratulations.
Top 20. The equivalent would have been in 1966 for Al Jolson to have a #1 album from 1916.
It just never happened.
It would never have happened.
It doesn't seem like the pop music of this decade, or maybe even the last couple of decades, will stand the test of time like the 1960s and 70s, does it?
I don't know. Since then, I've never really listened to much contemporary music. In the morning when I get up and have my cup of green tea, I listen to Segovia. And when we start having martinis at 5, it's Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald.
Sounds like a nice pattern of life.
Those hours between green tea and martini just have no meaning.
Now, you mentioned the new album, and you actually do have a couple of contemporary Brits collaborating on a song, Paul Weller and Mr. Noel Gallagher.
Yes.
So there is some contemporary songs you like.
Oh, yeah, well, contemporary writers and contemporary people I like. It was just amazing how this came together. We found these unfinished tracks, one of them being that Harry Nilsson tune where he was doing the scratch vocal. And I heard this track from 1966, and I was like, I can't believe it. I can sing a duet with my old friend Harry Nilsson. That kind of got it, the whole thing kick-started. And then the producer, Adam Schlesinger, and the record company, Rhino, went out and started reaching out to people saying, the Monkees are going to do a new album, and it's going to have this 60s feel. Because we also had a tune that Neil Diamond had wrote for Davey, and Davey's vocal is on it. And so they started reaching out, and Noel Gallagher and Paul Weller said, we have something we think would be great. And it just turned into, and everybody was submitting these songs. Turns out they were like big fans, and it was tough. We had a lot of material we had to choose from.
And Michael Nesmith is joining you for a gig in LA soon.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
so
Pantages, yep.
he says that's the final time. Is that the final time?
Well, he's said that a few times.
That's what I was asking.
He knows he's always welcome, and I love singing and playing with him. It's great fun.
Just before we hear a track from the new album, the question fans who bought the album, who bought the 50th anniversary compilation, will want me to ask is, what about UK dates? Will you do some more UK dates?
I have every intention of doing it. We can't this year because we're totally booked.